On Santa Monica Pier, a disabled girl was mocked and shoved by bullies, until the roar of motorcycles shook the boardwalk. A sea of bikers surrounded her, turning cruelty into courage. What happened next shocked everyone. Don't miss this powerful story. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more inspiring tales. Let's get started. On a sunny afternoon at Santa Monica Pier, the air was alive with the sounds of laughter, music, and crashing waves. Tourists snapped photos, children ran with cotton candy in their hands, and street performers strummed guitars under the golden sky. Among the joy, Emily, a quiet girl in a wheelchair, rolled slowly down the boardwalk. Her gaze was fixed on the ocean, the waves glistening like silver. For her, the pier was a place of escape from the struggles she faced daily. But even here, peace did not last long. Trouble was waiting, hidden in the crowd. As Emily maneuvered past a group of teenagers, their mocking eyes followed her every move. Suddenly, one stepped forward, blocking her path. "Move, cripple!" he sneered with a cruel grin, and with a shove, her chair jolted sideways. Emily gasped as her book slipped from her lap and scattered across the wooden planks. The teenagers erupted in laughter, their voices sharp and cutting. Around them, the crowd seemed to hold its breath. A few passers-by slowed down, uneasy, but no one dared to step in. Emily's face turned pale with fear. Tears welled in her eyes as she tried to bend forward, reaching shakily for her fallen books. Her hands trembled, the pages slipping through her fingers while the teenagers mocked her struggle. "Look at her, can't even pick up her own stuff," one jeered, kicking a book farther away. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she glanced around desperately for help. Strangers looked on, some recording on their phones, others turning away as if ignoring the cruelty would make it disappear. For Emily, the world felt unbearably heavy, and the pier suddenly seemed colder than the sea breeze. Just as the bullies prepared to shove her again, a strange sound cut through the air. It started low, almost like a growl, then grew louder with every passing second. The rumble of engines rolled across the pier, commanding attention. The mocking laughter faltered as heads turned toward the entrance of the boardwalk. The sound grew into a thunderous chorus, the kind that vibrated through the wooden planks beneath their feet. Emily looked up, confused, wiping her tears as the bullies exchanged uneasy glances. Something was coming, something bigger than them. Then, like a wave crashing onto the shore, the motorcycles appeared. Sleek chrome glistened under the California sun as one bike after another rolled onto the pier. Leather jackets, heavy boots, and helmets reflected a fierce presence that could not be ignored. The engines revved in unison, echoing like a warning across the open boardwalk. Tourists gasped, some stepping back in awe, others pulling out phones to capture the moment. Emily blinked, her tears forgotten for a moment, as she realized the riders were not passing through. They were surrounding her. A sea of bikers had arrived, and silence fell over the pier. The bullies froze where they stood, their laughter dying in their throats as the bikers formed a circle around Emily. The engines still idled, their deep rumble echoing across the pier like a warning drum. Tourists stopped in their tracks, their eyes fixed on the unfolding scene. The leader of the group, a tall man with broad shoulders and a steel gaze, stepped forward. His heavy boots thudded against the wooden planks as he closed the distance. The air seemed to thicken with tension. "You think it's tough to pick on someone who can't fight back?" his voice thundered. The teenagers shifted uncomfortably, their earlier bravado fading. One stammered an excuse, but the leader raised a gloved hand, silencing him instantly. Around them, the bikers stood tall, their leather vests and stern expressions carrying an unspoken message. This was not a fight the bullies could win. One of the women knelt beside Emily, her gentle hands picking up scattered books. Another biker crouched to examine the bent wheel of her chair, pulling out a small tool from his pocket to fix it. The contrast was powerful, giants in leather but showing more care than anyone else. The crowd began to murmur, their whispers growing into applause. Some people raised their phones to capture the moment, realizing they were witnessing something unforgettable. Emily, still shaken, looked around in disbelief as strangers clapped and cheered for her. For the first time in what felt like forever, she wasn't invisible. She wasn't just the quiet girl in a chair. She was someone worth defending. The bikers, with their engines revving in unison, sent a clear message to everyone watching. Kindness was strength, and cruelty would not stand unchallenged here. The bullies could no longer hide their shame. Their smirks had melted into pale, frightened faces, and without another word, they turned and ran, disappearing into the crowd that now jeered at them. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she realized the danger was gone. The leader gave her a small nod, his tough expression softening as he crouched down to her level. "You're safe now," he said firmly, his tone both protective and reassuring. Emily's lips trembled before curving into a smile, the first real one she had shown in weeks. The weight pressing on her chest seemed to finally lift. As the sun dipped lower over Santa Monica Pier, the bikers started their engines again, the roar echoing like thunder over the ocean. The crowd parted, giving way to the heroes who had transformed the day. Emily sat taller in her chair, her books safely on her lap, her heart pounding not with fear but with newfound pride. On that pier, she wasn't just a disabled girl who had been mocked. She had become the heart of a story that would spread across the country. For everyone watching, it was proof that sometimes strangers can become protectors, and compassion can rewrite destiny.